Hi, hello there. Hi, and welcome to another installment of a series I like to call Making Outfits Based on Animated Characters, only this time it's not animated. And the outfits are actually supposed to be inspired by the character and not like an exact replica, which is basically like bounding, I know, whatever. Still working on the title. This dress was actually from the last episode of this series where I redesigned Meg's dress, Megara, from the animated Hercules movie. In this episode, I wanted to get a little spooky with it. So we're gonna do a character from a show that I really, really liked when I was a very small kid. We're making Lily Munster from the Munsters. And no, I'm not talking about the Rob Zombie movie. We're never talking about the Rob Zombie movie. Don't know who the Munsters are? Let me tell you. So the Munsters are a sitcom that came out in the 60s. It's about a family of monsters who live a normal life. Normal. Relatively, right? You have the head of the household, who is Herman. He's a Frankenstein's monster. Then you have his wife, Lily, who is a vampire. They have a son together. His name is Eddie. He's a werewolf. I don't know why. Recessive genes, you know, things happen sometimes. And then there's Grandpa, who is Lily's father, who is Count Dracula. Grandpa is Lily's father. Makes sense, right? He's a vampire. He had a vampire child. But to throw a wrench in that, Lily also has a brother that showed up in one episode, and he is also a werewolf. So my guess is that Grandma was a werewolf, because I don't think you ever see her in the show because she presumably is dead, but like dead and not like dead like everybody else is dead. Not like reanimated dead, but dead. YouTube is gonna hate this episode, I think. I don't know for sure, just speculating here. But that's, you know, how we got the werewolf gene in the pool. I don't know how a vampire had a child to begin with. Look, we're not talking about Twilight. Let's continue. There's one more character to kind of round out this household, but we're gonna put a pin in that for just a minute. And the Munsters were a spoof on the normal everyday family, like Leave It to Beaver. A lot of the jokes are a play on words, and it's just a really goofy show. There's a lot of jokes about Herman's looks because he's a very handsome man. Except whenever he walks into a store, everybody mysteriously leaves. Or he looks into a mirror and the mirror breaks. Every time. Every time. This gag has been done so many times. Now that we know who the Munsters are, let's move along to my design. But just really quick, I want to clarify about what this series is, because I don't think I really did that in the last episode where I made this dress. So in this series, I'm basically taking the essence of a character and redesigning it and turning it into something that I would wear. That's the key. It's about making content that's not just costumes that hang in my closet and never see the light of day again. It's about designing something that I would want to wear and that I actually wear, because we know those two things aren't mutually exclusive. So these aren't costumes, and I don't want them to look like costumes. Eccentric outfits, sure, but still clothes. The goal is usually for someone to see my outfit and just kind of think to themselves like, she kind of looks like Meg. That's cute. If they even think that far on it. This is not supposed to be a, oh look, she's dressed like Meg. I don't want that. Now that we got that out of the way. With the last two episodes in this series where I made this dress and Belle's dress, they were pretty loosely based on the character, but we kept their color scheme and for the most part the silhouette. That being said, we are deviating a little bit from that. We're keeping the color scheme, but we're not really keeping the full silhouette. Let me explain. This one was a little bit more challenging when I was going through and designing something for it. I had like 4 or 5 different designs before I landed on the one that I like love. And let me just tell you, I love this design. But first, let me just keep teasing. Let me introduce you to the last member of the family. This is Marilyn. Marilyn is this blonde beauty named after Marilyn Monroe, who would have passed away 2 years before this show aired. She was the white sheep of the family. Huh? I think they actually make that joke in the show. The other members of the family pity Marilyn for her unfortunate looks. It's a pretty good gag that they keep going throughout the show, but what does this have to do with my design? Let me tell you. Do you remember that blue polka-dotted dress that Marilyn Monroe was photographed in? This one? Oh, God. I know you love that dress. I love that dress. So what if we took that dress and mixed it with Lily Munster? So here is the design that I have. Finally, let me show you my design. So we're taking Marilyn's dress and we're changing the color to Lily's beautiful lavender pink. I love this color. And then we're also adding black lace everywhere to keep those elements of Lily's costume. And I'm also giving that waist section the little spiderweb tucks. Oh, so cute. And then I'm also gonna make a little bolero with the bat wings because I really did feel like we needed to add a little bit of something extra to kind of make it feel like Lily's since we took away the silhouette. Besides, bat wing sleeves are so cute. But that was a lot of yapping from me. So let's actually talk about the materials that we're using and get into making this. So I wanted the dress to be made out of cotton, and I have a lot of white cotton right here. White, you ask? We're gonna dye it. I have this cotton voile, cotton voile that is pretty sheer, but it's gonna give me that effect that I want for the sleeves. That is the first thing we have to do. We have to dye this. And I don't really wanna dye it in my cute dress. So let's go ahead and flip our scene around and set everything up for dyeing. That's better. So I have my big pot of water and my sous vide. I don't use this for food, so don't yell at me about food poisoning or something. We got my sous vide just so I could do this in here. I have 2 colors. I have petal pink and violet. I'm gonna start with the whole bottle of the petal pink, and then I'm gonna start adding the violet, a little at a time, till we get to the color that we're looking for. So let's add that much. Put the lid back on that. I know me. Just put that in there. Initial color, 2 pink. We're gonna add a little more purple. Splash. Splash. Mix that. Ooh, forbidden soup. Next piece. All right, slight dunk. Still feel like that's just too pink. Splash. Mix. Dip. Ooh. Oh, okay. Okay. This is looking a little better. I'm gonna put this in here and we're just gonna let it be for a little bit. I don't know how long to leave it. Oh no, I've lost it. I've really lost it. Where did you go? Oh, there you are, come back. No, I saw you. Oh no, I think it's too much. I'm gonna take this and go rinse it off and then dry it really quick. So BRB. Okay, so here is our test color that I just showed you guys. It's too dark. Too dark. So I tried it again, just like dipping it, rinsing it, and this is the color we got. And that is perfect. So this has to be a very like dip, pull, rinse. And it's gonna be very fast. I'm gonna do this in the bathtub. That way I can very quickly just dunk everything, make sure it's all wet, and then rinse it off. And I'm not gonna bring you along. Y'all are gonna stay here. And I'm gonna dye this really quick, and then we can come back and then we need to actually pattern everything. I don't know how to pattern something that's like gathered. So this is gonna be interesting. Time to pattern the bodice. First, I draw out the neckline and then separate the bust area. I take that and draw a vertical line through it and then separate it into 9 sections. I don't think the number of sections matter, that's just what felt right. Then I take those sections and tape them to a new sheet of paper, spacing them 1/2 inch apart, and then cut that out. Next is the middle section. I redraw it, removing the chunk that was part of the dart, then draw lines where I want each of the seams for the tucks to be, and then number those sections and cut them out. And then just like I did with the bust, taping them to a new sheet of paper with a 1/2 inch space between each one. But before I cut this section out, I fold them up first so that I could have the correct cutting lines when I cut it out of the fabric. Okay, I have all my fabric. I'm quite tickled with this color. I think it's perfect. We'll see how I feel at the very end of the project. I might get to the end and be like, this is totally the wrong color. Next up, I started the mock-up. I sewed the little stomach part. This is very nice. I love, look how nice the little tucks are. Isn't that so perfect? I'm very excited. So we know that this works. I'm gonna have to mess around with the gathered top part because this just ain't right. This doesn't work. It's like, so the lining is just my regular bodice block with the darts. But somehow it's like the gathered part is way more, like there's more of it between the layers. So it's just not sitting right. And then also it needs like a lot more gathering to get the right look because none of this is okay. It's all so wrong. I'm gonna go and we'll fix this tomorrow. The main difference with this next version is that I move the bust darts into the waist from the beginning and curve the waist piece up to the armpit so that the gathered section is just over the boobies. Then repeat all the same steps from before. We have a full mock-up now. Better, but not quite right. I don't love how like poofy this is. Don't love it. So if I kind of like take it and then pull it down like this, there's about 1.5 inches of excess fabric right here. And I would really like it more if it was tighter like that. And then I also kind of want a little more gathers. So I'm gonna redo this piece. I've taken the 1.5 inches off of here. And then I've also added another 1/2 inch between each of the pieces. So now it's even longer. And the strap, I just have it pinned to my bra currently, but the straps are gonna be lace. I have it, hold on. So I have this lace, and this is what's going to be everywhere. And then, yeah, like each piece and then each layer of the skirt will all have this black trim, and then it'll be the trim for the straps, which is this like crocheted cotton, but there's like no stretch to it and it feels pretty strong to me, so I think it'll be nice for the straps. So there's that. I'm gonna make the alteration, so let's just like skip forward and see if I've managed to make it correctly and see if it looks good. Okay, this is much better. Took the sides in 1 inch. I've redone the bust. I think we're ready for the real thing. All right, well, let's start sewing this baby together, shall we? Let's tackle this middle part first. I pin 1 tuck at a time and then sew it down. The tucks are too close together to pin the whole thing at one time. Then I cut the middle tuck and use my iron to press it open, and then I press all the other tucks toward the side that they are closest to. Setting my machine to its longest stitch length, I run 2 rows of gathering stitches to the top and bottom of the bust piece. Then gather it up to fit the lining and sew it down. Then this gets attached to the middle section. Okay, the top is kind of finished. Look. Isn't it so cute? I love the little tucks right here, and I think the gathers came out really well. It's so cute. Let me confess something really quick. I'm really afraid with this pink and black color scheme that this dress might look a little kitschy. Like it's from, when was it, like 2015, when black and pink was like a really big color combination. Like black and pink with like the Paris theme for some reason was like a thing. And I'm a little nervous about that. A little. So I really hope that it does not come off that way and that it's actually cute. I'm nervous now. I guess we gotta trust the process, huh? Let's sew some lace down, and then we need to make the lining, and then we need to make the skirt. I'm looking at this fabric color now and I'm like, maybe it should have been a hint, like a whisper more purple. Maybe that last sploosh should have been like a sploosh. No, it's fine. Trust the process. It's a great color. I think it's perfect. What was I doing? I got lost. I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna go, and you can go ahead and jump to the next scene. Okay. Okay. This is really cute. Fully lined. We got our little straps on. The top is done. Now we have to do the bottom. And now I must face the consequences of my actions. Now I have to do gathering math and then gather said math. First, I'm gonna take my yardstick, hold it up to my waist, and see how long I want this dress to be. Just below my knee is where I like dresses, 30 inches. So we need it 30 inches long, and we want 4 tiers, but the top layer to be shorter and then like get gradually bigger to where the bottom layer is the biggest, lengthwise. So how do I want to do that? We can do, so the first tier is 5 inches, do 4 inches, and then the next tier is 6 inches. Okay, so we'll make the last 2 tiers 9 inches and 11 inches. Okay, great. Good so far, right? We have the length for each tier. Now we need the width, starting with this, because it's our base. With seam allowance, it is 33 inches. If we double the tiers as we go, then our second tier will be 66 inches, and then 132 inches, and then 264 inches. We've done the math. Let's do the cutting. Oh, there's still more math to do, isn't there? So now we need to figure out how many strips of this fabric we need. How long is it? It is 55 inches. Oh no. I didn't math right because the top tier isn't 33 inches, it is 66 inches, which means the bottom tier is 528 inches. Did I math right? Yeah. 528 inches, that's 44 feet. Is that excessive? It might be. I am really struggling, trying to decide if I should do it like this or not, because this seems a little crazy. Let me just jump in here really quick and put into perspective how long 44 feet actually is. According to measureofthings.com, that's about the height of a bronchiosaurus, or 2.5 times as tall as a giraffe. And for my UK friends, it's 1 3/5 as long as a London bus. So I think 44 feet is just a tad overkill. We cannot do it like this. This is too much. I've come to a decision. First here, we're gonna double my waist. Lots of little gathers right there. So it's 66 inches. Next year, not quite double, 120, just to give it a nice round number. Next year, 200, not double, close. Next year, 300 inches. So again, not quite double. Actually, that one's 1.5, but it's fuller than just doing 1.5 all the way down. That works. I'm on my last bag of my UK gummy bears. And if you're thinking, Annie, why don't you just go buy some more gummy bears? It is not the same. These are not the same. They are not like what we get here. And I'm like mad that these exist, but like we don't get them. Why? There's no high fructose corn syrup in them. They also have natural dyes and natural flavoring. They taste better and the texture is better and they're just kind of better in every single way. And I'm super bummed that this is my last pack. Don't take your gummies for granted, you guys in the UK. They're so good. They don't make them like that over here. All right, there's our first tier. Oh, I'm totally gonna have enough of this left over to make a pirate shirt. Yeah. I'm gonna continue to cut these out and I'll see you guys in a minute and you can help me gather everything up on the floor. Okay, I got some prep work done before I could actually do the gathers. So each tier, because there's 4 tiers, is flat-lined together. This is our very top tier. The next tier is in 2 pieces. Why? Because pockets. I almost forgot. I didn't. I remembered pockets. And then that's how these 2 pieces will be connected, is with a pocket on each side. This gets gathered up to fit into that layer. And then here's the 3rd layer. And then the very bottom layer, I have flatlined at the top, left it open at the bottom, put the lace on, and each layer has a very narrow hem, which I did with a narrow hem foot, which is this thing. It's got this weird swirly thing on it. This has a learning curve, and I don't think I recommend it for somebody new because this has the potential to make somebody quit sewing, I think. Yeah, I believe so. So only attempt to use this monstrous but also very lovely foot if you are brave. It takes courage. I would give you a tutorial, but it was hard. There we go. Yeah. I'm such a flake because I'm looking at this color like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's not the right color. And then like 5 minutes goes by and I look at her, I'm like, yeah, that's the perfect color. You did a good job, bitch. And then another 5 minutes passes and I'm like, but maybe it's not. So that's where I'm at. Now, what am I doing? I guess I'm gonna do the pockets first and then I can start dividing all the tiers dividing them into a bunch of different parts. I'm almost out of gummy bears and this is devastating. Did you know the UK gummy bears has a green apple flavor? Our gummy bears, ours being the US, we don't have green apple. And I don't usually like green apple flavors, but I really like the one that's in the UK gummy bears. It's so good. Probably because it's like actual apple flavor and not like some weird made up artificial apple flavor. I'm gonna quit complaining. Maybe. Probably not. To be honest, probably not. But I'll quit for now. Quit talking to me, you're distracting. Time to make some pockets using my master pocket template. Cutting it out 4 times. Serge around the edges. Sew them right sides together to the skirt panel. Understitch the seam allowance to the pocket. Sew the pockets together, leaving them open where we sewed them to the skirt panel. And there we go. Now we have pockets. I'll go back in later and I'll attach the top bit to the waistline. Now for the gathering. I'm using the lazy method, which is my preferred method, and you guys have seen it here like a few times now. But I start by dividing the layers in half and then marking the top and bottom of that, then in half again, and marking it, and again, and marking it, and again, and so on. Until I have 16 points for the top layer and 32 points for the bottom 3 layers. Then we attach the points together, and so I'm using some needle nose tweezers here for this. It really helps keep the gathers small and tidy. These are actually my all-time favorite non-sewing tool. I use them all the time. Ta-da! Gathers are pretty neat. I like the volume we got. Let's do that 3 more times, shall we? Oh my God, y'all. This is a lot of dress. Might have gone too far. It's a lot of dress. It's actually a little heavy. It feels like I've been doing ruffles for my entire life. Like that's all I've ever done. I was born and I started doing ruffles. Now we're here. It's so cute. Okay, I need to put the rest of the trim on it and then put a zipper in it, and this is done. All done. I'm back on board with the color. I think the color's perfect. Ask me about it again in 5 minutes though. We need to put this aside because we have a whole other piece of garment to make, which is the little Bolero. After I make the little top, because it's not enough to make these 2 pieces, what if I also make a cute little bat out of clay, and then I can like paint it silver? Because Lily wears that bat necklace. Wouldn't that be cute? The idea was to put it on the Bolero right here, so it's not like supposed to be that big, like a pin on the Bolero. It should just be a brooch no matter what, huh? That's a good idea. I have been thinking I want to be a brooch lady now because I love gaudy jewelry and costume pieces. And I was just thinking to myself, what else could I add? How can I be more? And there's so many great brooches out there. So I've decided I'm going to be a brooch lady, but I don't have any brooches yet. So if your grandma left you any brooches and you don't want them, go ahead and send them my way. I'll take care of them for you. I'm just kidding. You don't have to send me your grandma's brooch. Sorry, I'm tired. I'll see you tomorrow when we draft the top, but we do have to start with sleeves, I guess. How am I gonna make those? Not for me to figure out. We'll deal with this tomorrow. Goodbye. This was just me looking at my block and going, I don't know, like this? And just drawing a basic shape of what I think it should look like. I just knew I didn't want darts and that I wanted it to have a peekaboo window in the front and back. For the collar piece, I just measured my neck and then cut a strip on the bias for it. Okay, so here's the mock-up for my, what's that word? Starts with a B. Little jacket. I don't hate the front. It looks very silly with what I have on, and the neck is completely wrong. But I think I'm gonna be optimistic. This is a good starting point. So, oh, and then the back, I have like this, and I think that cute little like peekaboo window back there too. Does it work? Is this gonna be cute? I don't know. Right now it looks like a bib. There's potential? Question mark? Maybe it should be shorter up here because the dress ends like right here, so there's not a whole lot of like peekaboo window. So I think we should bring it up. Hold on. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. All right, let me see if I can fix this. Okay, took another pass at it, and I like it now. I took my shirt off so I could really see where it's at. But it's cute. I like the little peekaboo window. I'm also going to French seam everything because I think that is the best way to do something that's sheer because you're going to see through it. So you don't want to do like a serger because then you're going to see the serger stitching. It'll just look neater. And I really do want this to be neat. I guess I can't put it off anymore. We got to make bat sleeves. How hard could it be? Right? Let's figure it out, I guess. Turns out it was really easy. I just kind of drew a bat wing shape for a sleeve. And then I took out a pattern that I knew had the sleeve cut out and used that to shape the top of the shoulder. Did a quick mirror test to see if I liked it, and done. Are these sleeves not everything? But now it is time to actually cut out the real thing and make that. Let's cut out and sew this thing together. Let me show you how to do some French seams. They're kind of annoying. Let's go. For French seams, you want to sew seams wrong sides together. I use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So for French seams, I sew a 1/4 inch over from the edge, and then cut it down to a couple millimeters, and then take it over to my ironing board and flip it so that the seam is on the inside and press it. Take it back to the machine, so another 1/4 inch from the edge, and ta-da! You have a very tidy French seam. And you can look at it and go, it's French. Or maybe don't. So the Bolero is all put together. I just need to go through and do all the hand stitching. I tried it on with the dress. I'm not entirely happy with it, but I don't really have the time to redo it. And all these French seams took forever. I love the like sleeve part, like the flowiness of it. Those sleeves are awesome. It's the way that the bottom sits, like it's not long enough to stay in the dress, so it just kind of like flops out. It really sucks, but you'll see what I mean when we get to the reveal. I should have made it more of a shirt. The thing that we need to do is make a little bat brooch, and then we're done. So let's go top down and figure out how to make a bat out of clay. I don't have a lot of experience in sculpting, but I do have a lot of audacity. So I roll out a chunk of clay and pull out my reference. I start by marking it out with this really pointy tool. I'm realizing just this very second that I could have printed out a template to make this and it would have been way more symmetrical. Oops, oh well. After cutting it out, I use this tool with like a squishy end to press in some of the parts to give it more depth. And then I also use it to smooth out all the edges. When the clay is dry, I add a coat of metallic silver paint. And then once that's dry, I go in with a black wash to give it some more detail. Let it dry one more time, and then I glue on a pin back with some good old E6000. And with that, I guess it's all finished. This project been a real roller coaster. Before we head to the reveal, I always gotta do it. I'm sorry, I have to. If you are enjoying my content, please subscribe. Also like and comment. All these things help my channel grow and makes me happy. Huh? Okay. With that out of the way, let's go to the reveal. So hot. What did you think? I think the last thing I said to you was that I was afraid of the Bolero and how it was looking and I didn't like it. I fixed it and I probably should have got some footage of pre-fixing it, but the way it had looked before was there was like 2 inches right here. So there's just this like flap. There's just a flap like right here that came out from the dress. But I took that out, and I think this works. I did not need this much dress. This was too much. And I say that it is too much because of the way that it falls. I feel like it sits a little bit strange because there's so much of the skirt that it is just kind of like piled in there. It could look better. Too much. I actually really love this dress though. Oh, also pockets. Did not show these in the reveal, but there are 2 ginormous pockets in here. I love these sleeves. Oh my God. I love these sleeves. These are so fun. I'm pretty happy with everything overall. Just as like, you know, minor things, nothing that's gonna hold me back from wearing any of this. Another like con is my little bat. While I think the shape came out pretty good, I wanted that like silver antiquing rub and buff stuff. So I just had to go with some silver metallic paint. It looks a little cheesy. My first brooch, you guys. First brooch. Only I never wear silver, so I'll probably paint it gold. I guess that's it. Let me know what you think of this one. I feel like this series is a little divisive. Some of you really like that I redesign the outfits, and some of you really don't. And I really wanted to do one that wasn't Disney because like everything on my list is Disney. If you have any non-Disney suggestions, please leave them below. Nothing wrong with Disney. I just have a ton of it and I would just like some other options. That is all. My next video is also from the 60s, but it's not groovy. It's like the 60s version of a historical item. Very excited to get started on that one. So I'm gonna go and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye. Ah! Can you just chill? So I'm gonna finish, hold on. Oh, that was a good snap.